Welcome to episode 151 of the Thunder Underground podcast. This episode is not sponsored by Bacardi.
No.
Unfortunately. We would love their money. Maybe someday.
We would love anybody's money. If you're out there and you want to sponsor us or something, let us know.
Yeah. In the words of Justin Poole's Egotastic Fun Time, send us all your money.
That's right. Send all of it.
And you don't have to just send money. We have t-shirts, stickers, magnets, armbands, koozies, all kinds of crap.
You will get something for your money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
By the way, speaking of, we actually have a Patreon account.
We do? I was wondering about that.
I set that up a while back and then haven't really done anything with it. So, in the near future, be on the lookout for that.
See, here's the thing I always wondered about that. We could have, and I can talk about this on the podcast. We'll be open about it. Maybe somebody out there can give us some suggestions. But if we've got the Patreon, but for certain levels of pledges, you get something in return. What could we offer? Because it's people that give every month.
Right. That's what I've wondered with the podcast. What exactly?
Yeah.
would do
other than our impeccable musical insight and interviews that we offer our valued listeners, what do we have to offer?
Yeah. I don't know. You could play miniature golf with Jason.
Yeah.
I see that U2's doing a thing right now where you can donate stuff to charity and whoever wins gets to play miniature golf with the Edge and Bono.
Really? That'd be crazy. That'd be all good and stuff, but if I don't really know you that well or don't know you at all, I'm pretty withdrawn. So It might be an awkward game of miniature golf.
That's true.
Just warning you. So, I don't know, but
we'll throw those ideas. Hey, if you've got ideas, comment them here on Facebook or on iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever you're listening on.
Yeah, and maybe I should be okay with mini golf. Just put myself out there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of interviews, today's episode features Schuylar Croom, the lead vocalist of He Is Legend.
That's right.
And this is actually his return.
Second time on the show.
Yeah. First time was earlier this year, a little bit before their album Few came out. The album's now been out since the spring, so happy to have him back. Get into that here in a bit. But before we do, we want to play some music.
Yes.
Just get right into this right now. A band out of North Carolina called Binding Isaac. This song's called Halo.
Remain the sun has got the gravity.
Halo from Binding Isaac out of Asheville, North Carolina.
That's right.
I love the guitar tone throughout this song on those riffs. Just real dirty and deep, and also it sounds like it's got a edge or a fuzz to it, whatever the right word is, but it also sounds just like heavy metal. It doesn't sound like your fuzz kind of music. But
Definitely. There's some tight riffing going on. I mean, right from the get-go. This is for me, the guitars stick out because I'm a guitar guy, I love the fucking solo. I mean, that's just, that's a guitar player's solo. I really actually like the chords underneath it, real and I always trip up over this fucking word, anthemic.
Yeah.
Anthemic. Anyways, that's what the fuck it is. And even with, all that's going on in the song, there's a hook. The vocals, are ball squashers, as I like to say. I mean, this is just a great metal tune. And, you'll end up singing the chords, you'll end up singing the vocals. Hook is, again, the word I'm using. And, so take note of that. And, it's a great song.
And let's act like Eddie Trunk for a minute. Throw a shout out. You're a friend of one of the guys in the band from way back, right?
Yes, the bass player Judah. He's an old buddy that took Votech with way back in high school, and we actually jammed with him a couple times, long time ago. Yeah. I think me and Eric did. God, I can't remember, but we played his previous band before a couple years ago on the show.
That's right.
And he's got this new band, Binding Isaac. They're playing around North Carolina. No, they just opened up for Avatar. And I think they're opening up for Davey Suicide coming up. So anyways, show these guys some love. They're all over Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Reverb Nation, that's got 3 songs. Just search, Binding Isaac, Reverb Nation, and give them a listen.
Yeah, follow them and like them. Tell them that we sent you.
That's right.
Well, last week we went to see Alter Bridge.
Yes.
They came through town, and this tour that they're on right now is a triple bill. It also features All That Remains and Sons of Texas.
Yes.
And that's, quite a great triple bill, because a lot of times it's
a strong bill. It really is.
Yeah, a lot of times anymore, at least for me, back in the day, there used to be better ones. And a lot of times in, like, the real heavy stuff, you'll get 3 bands I like, but it's not that common in this style of hard rock or metal that you get 3 bands that I like on the same bill, you know? So that's cool. And I mean, the highlight it's hard to say, because when this first announced, the highlight for me was, we're going to get to see Sons of Texas again.
Yes, exactly.
But as they got closer, I got more and more excited about Alter Bridge, because it had been quite a while since I'd seen them. And that new album is came out in 2016. It's fantastic, just like everything they've done. They've got 5 albums now or 6? And they don't have anything subpar on any of them.
Yeah. Did it come out in 2016?
Yeah.
Wasn't early 20... Jesus. Man.
Yeah, that's why they said
Time
this
flies.
is like the end of the cycle.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, this thing kicks off, which we'll back up. We saw it at the Canes Ballroom in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Kicks off with Sons of Texas. And they got about, like you expect for the third band, about 30 minutes or so.
Yes.
6 songs. What was it, about 3 and 3 off the first album? And
I think
new
so,
album,
yeah.
Roughly?
Didn't they open with Vestryman?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They did, then they did South Texas Trim.
Right.
Yeah, God, yeah.
And the thing we both talked about after the fact was, we thought you think it's kind of odd that they didn't play Baptized in Rio Grande.
Yeah.
Because that was the big single from the first
record.
When you think about it, it's not like these guys are like massive.
Yeah.
So it's not like people are like, I don't know how to word that. Or I'm just saying, they can get away with it at the point they're at right now.
Yeah. Well, my take on it was they wanted to get new stuff in there.
Yeah.
And Feed the Need is out. Or that was one of the first lyric videos they. And of course they want to, Beneath the Riverbed, they want to push that.
Of course.
As they should. I think that's as strong as anything they've put out. And then on the other side of the coin is they've got 30 minutes, so they want to just get in there and punch you in the face and, get some barn burners in there real quick and get everyone pumped.
Right.
So, maybe they were just going for the heavier stuff or something. I mean, that's just my speculation as a fan.
Right. Well, that's right. They played Forged by Fortitude, which is like the heaviest song on the new album.
Yeah. And we've had these conversations a million times. I'm not a guy that needs to hear the radio singles.
Right.
I think, as a band, you play whatever the fuck you want. And if the crowd doesn't like it, well, they can go fuck themselves, It's
the Black Crowes approach, the Pearl Jam approach.
Exactly. I understand that, it's like when Iron Maiden came through and everyone was butthurt they didn't play Run to the Hills. Who gives a shit? We've heard that song a million times. Go listen to your CD. I'm just glad they're in town.
Right.
But anyways, I'm getting off track here. But I mean, Sons of Texas, they were great. They showed exactly why, I love this band so much. And so much more than newer bands, than the newer bands that are out today is, they've got power, they're melodic, but they're not fucking cheesy or radio rockish, and they made the most of the set time that they had.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I mean, I dug it. I can't wait to see him again.
Well, you mentioned Beneath the Riverbed, and that was definitely a highlight for me because, like you said, it's strong as anything they've ever done, and that's my favorite song on this album. And
oh yeah,
it's might be my favorite song of the year. If not, it's top 3.
Yeah.
And they sounded great live, just like it does on record.
That's right. And Jess DeHoyos had his Jim Root Fender Stratocaster.
Oh yeah,
which I fucking love. That guitar is so fucking badass. I don't know why. I'm not the biggest.
Not a big Jim Root fan.
I'm not a big Slipknot guy, but Jim Root's fucking guitars are badass. So anyways, so yeah, I mean, just, I can't say enough great things about this band. Sons of Texas, get into them.
Yeah, I should have looked up the episode beforehand, but a few episodes back, I think it was in October when the album came out, we did a lengthy talk about the new album, so go back and check that out.
We nerded out over the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
And we've got here in just a couple weeks, probably you'll be hearing the best of 2017 episode, and that'll definitely be on there.
That's right. And we've had these guys on the show twice before.
That's right. John Oliveris and Jess DeHoyos.
Yes, definitely.
And at the beginning of the show, Mark said, "What's up, OKC?"
Yeah.
And then kicked into the song, and then everybody was chanting Tulsa after the thing, and he owned up to it and apologized for the next 2 or 3 songs.
Even in the middle of it, he's like, "Oklahoma City, are you with me?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of you see John Oliveris walk over to him and say something at the end of the first song, and then he started laughing and put his head in his hands, and he knew he fucked up.
Right.
He owned up to it, and everyone was chanting Tulsa. And, but who cares? To me, that was funny. That was just something cool that you get to see that you don't get to see all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that a few times throughout the years, and I mean, these guys playing a bunch of shows, sometimes it slips your mind. And
yeah, no kidding. When you're on the road every day and you got so much going on, I wouldn't know what the fuck town I was in either.
Right.
But see, that brings up a point. Is like, in all the shows I've ever been to in my whole life, I don't know that I've ever been to one where somebody got the town wrong. I think that was the first one.
The first...
You've been to a little bit more than me. Maybe you did, but I don't...
One that jumps out...
I can't remember.
I was like actually walking out of Godsmack when they played Rocklahoma. The first time they played Rocklahoma, in 2010, I think it might have been.
Yeah.
And he yelled something to "What's up, Oklahoma City?" or something about Oklahoma City when they were in Pryor.
Nice. Nice.
And I know there was something else where I was like that, where someone else said Oklahoma City and Tulsa, as well, but I can't remember.
Well, not to get off subject, but to get off subject, I remember hearing a thing a few months ago with Sully Erna, some interview or something I read. I don't know why I read it. I'm not the biggest Godsmack fan in the world, but he said something like this new album they got coming out, it's totally different. They're doing something different with their sound, and they're going to have a new look and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like for their 20th anniversary, they're just going to do something crazy or whatever, Well, I was, waiting on your slow ass a minute ago, and I was just thumbing through my feed, and Blabbermouth had a thing about a new clip from Godsmack's new record, and I listened to it, and it sounded like every other goddamn Godsmack song I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Right.
Because I was just curious. I'm like, okay, well,
right.
You really branched out there, didn't you guys?
Well, I remember he said something like that when he was on Josta, and then
maybe that's where I heard it. I can't fucking remember.
They had a single out around that time, and it did sound a little different. It sounded more just kind of like classic rock.
Really?
Didn't sound like, generic Alice in Chains or anything,
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Moving right along. Yeah. How the fuck? We're still on this fucking Alter Bridge show. We haven't even got to All That Remains yet. Jesus.
So All That Remains is up.
Okay, All That Remains.
Let's been quite a while. Man, I can't even remember. No.
I think the last time I saw... No. Okay, I remember. Saw Diamond Ballroom opening for fucking Dragon Force in Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay. Was that the one I was at?
Yes, but we saw him at Ozfest 06 too. I wonder if that was the same year. I can't fucking remember.
Well, I saw him a few years ago on that tour. It was Volbeat, him.
Oh, yeah, and Airborne and all
Airborne
that shit.
and All That Remains.
Yeah.
And that was great. And I really liked All That Remains there.
Yeah.
Even though that was about the point where I was starting to lose interest because they were changing their sound to be more radio friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, a lot of these bands have done that. Even Killswitch has a couple songs where...
Yeah.
But All That Remains seemed to do it a lot more on... I didn't even listen to the newest album, so I can't really comment on it. But I remember that album that had like Stand Up and all that stuff just sounded more radio friendly, which is fine. I like bands like that, but it's kind of like when Metallica did Load, I'm just like, this is fine, but I know what this band was capable of.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I lost interest.
I kind of checked out on All That Remains, but I don't know why. Maybe that's just my ignorance, but, they don't suck.
Well, yeah, they're playing
maybe they
live.
Just don't do it for me, but Phil Labonte has always been able to do anything vocally he wants to. He could be in he could be in Iron Maiden or he could be in Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
And he really utilizes all those shades of his voice. And so, that's never something that, if he came out with a clean song or they did a rough song, that never bothered me. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of the, and I really used to love him, but I think it's just one of those things where, there's a point where I kind of got out of all that kind of metalcore type kind of stuff. I kind of stopped listening to a lot of that. So maybe that's where, they lost me or something, but I don't know. But one thing that can be said, fuck me, fuck what I think. They had a great turn, they had a great response. People love that band. People around here really love that band. And, the crowd was digging them at this show. And that's what you want. And that's just another reason why this was a great triple bill.
Yeah. And they, like you said, his voice, it sounds great live, and the guitar work is as good as most bands, any band out there, better than a lot of them. But it's just something about the fact of how much I love Alter Bridge and how much I love Sons of Texas now that they kind of got lost in there for me.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, maybe. I do know one thing by watching that guy, watching that guy perform. I need to A, start working out more.
Right.
And B, get me like a whole case of Nair. Right.
Yeah, he looked like a professional wrestler.
Yeah, he did. The fucking bass player looked like a monster too.
Yeah.
I
got a picture of him when we met him at that Ozfest, remember?
Yeah, that's right.
I think you do too.
Yeah,
and he looked the same back then,
I know.
Ripped, with no hair on his body.
I know.
Like looking like Chris Jericho or something.
I mean, and it's sad. I take my shirt off. I look like a fucking piece of chewing gum with hair stuck in it. Anyways, again, we're way off on the, Alter Bridge is next.
Yes.
Or let me ask you this before we move on to Alter Bridge. What do you think of live or in any, when it came out, what do you think of All That Remains' version of Thunder Rolls?
The first time I heard it, I thought, that's all right. And then I listened to it again, and I'm just like, whatever. It didn't, it's just one of those songs I don't really have anything bad to say about it, but it didn't really do anything for me. And it's kind of funny that came out because, Devil Driver has this album that's supposed to be coming out soon that is all covers of country songs.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And it, just like not that long ago in some interview, Dez said that he's like, I don't understand why metal bands do covers of metal songs. There's no point or something like that. So, I mean, it's cool that they're doing a song like that because it's completely out of left field.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people that like metal, don't like country at all.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's old country. But Garth Brooks is one of those guys that straddles the line, and he was before all the shit turned pop,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm fine with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Well, what about you? You're not a big fan of that?
No, I'm not a big fan at all. I mean, it just doesn't. And I like what you're saying about what Dez said about, why do metal bands cover metal songs? I mean, it's cool, and maybe it's cool when somebody does something a little left of center, but for me, this one didn't work, but whatever.
Right.
People, I know that when they fucking played it, all the phones went up.
Yeah.
I couldn't see a goddamn thing because everyone had their fucking phones up. So, and I did not take any pictures at this concert.
Yeah, same here.
I was in the fucking moment.
Yeah.
So, little tip out there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, Alter Bridge, of course, if you haven't seen them live, you're missing out.
Oh, man.
It's been, was the last time I saw them live, I think was the Dallas show we went to, right?
Yeah, or when did we see him at that casino with like Blackstone Cherry and shit?
I think that was before.
Was that before or after?
Well,
I can't remember.
I think that was before that.
There was somebody else at that show too.
Which one?
The show, the Carnival of Madness, Alter Bridge, Blackstone Cherry, and...
Yeah, it was headlined by Theory of a Dead Man, and we left before that.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. Jesus fucking Christ, Theory of a Dead Man. Anyways, moving right along.
Well, we saw them in Dallas at Trees with Taddy Porter back whenever they were still a rock band. And, I'll cut that part out, right?
No. Fuck it.
No, because we saw them live earlier this year at that Gene Simmons thing, and they were, they're good.
Yeah, they were decent. We're just dickheads.
Well, Alter Bridge is, in my eyes, a phenomenon of hard rock and metal.
I agree.
Because they're, like you talked about it when we did that review of Sons of Texas about how they're one of those bands that perfectly straddle that line.
Mm-hmm.
And Alter Bridge does at times too.
Yeah.
They've got points where they're into that metal world.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, every single song, they're one of those bands that they didn't play probably, my top 3 Alter Bridge songs, they didn't play a single one of them. But that's one of those bands that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because every single song is great.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you could have I would love to go see these guys and see a new set list every single day, and it'd be just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And seeing, the song Blackbird, the title track from their second album, they play live like every show. And that's like 8 minutes long. And that's just like a religious experience almost to me. Like that's like one, I take that back. That's probably my top 3 songs, but just to, be able to hear that, is worth the whole show.
Definitely.
And then everything else they do. And like Blackbird, the album, is my favorite album by them. And they actually play like 5 songs off it. And that's another thing I wanted to point out. I love how a lot of bands they'll play obviously stuff from their newest album, stuff from whatever their most popular album is, and like one or two other songs in there. But like Alter Bridge, pretty much the span of the 5 albums, they spread it out over all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't, as heavy, there was a few songs from the new album, but just as much from the first album and from Blackbird and from Fortress and everything else, AB3.
Yeah.
So, I love the fact that they, still respect the catalog, and they even played Brand New Start from Blackbird, which they haven't been playing recently because I've been looking at the set lists.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was another highlight. Anyway, I can keep rambling.
Well,
you go.
I love this band. I am not an Alter Bridge fucking maniac, though. And when I say that, what I mean is, Miles Kennedy is a fucking freak of nature. I mean, he's got an amazing voice. He can fucking play guitar like nobody's business. I love Mark Tremonti. I love his fucking soloing. I mean, it's just balls out. It's like Zakk Wylde. He doesn't have a style like Zakk Wylde, but it's just that urgency in his playing. Every fucking note is, even in the flurries, every note is like he plays it like it's his last note he might ever play. I really love the fact that, this band is from the ashes of Creed. It came from a thing that kind of people bagged on and maybe still bag on, and they created something totally different, and they made the best of their second chance and are now probably more, lauded than Creed ever was. I just, they're one of those, there's so much to dig into in their catalog and their albums. I mean, and they're not one of those, each song is a journey. Each song is a quest, and it takes a lot to listen to one of their albums.
Yeah. I
think, it really does. And for me, I'm sorry I'm getting a little long-winded here, but for me, I only know the titles of a handful of songs, but I've listened to them for years and I love them, and I just kind of push play and let it go. And so, I knew a lot of the songs, I just didn't know what they were called. And I'm that way with a lot of bands. I'm kind of a lazy listener sometimes, and I hate that, but it is what it is. But this, to see him live, and I mean, it was probably the most memorable time I've ever seen him live. It really, the last 2 times were cool, but this was like epic, I mean, I don't know if it was, a bit bigger of a venue or the lights or how they constructed their set, but it was just a really epic feel, and you felt like you were seeing something pretty special. And again, it's like, every solo Mark Tremonti does is just like, you're hypnotized by it. I was craning my neck, if somebody was in the way or whatever. Whenever he went to solo, I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see, this guy is so, I mean, I think he's underrated, because I think the whole band is underrated. I think in America, people still, I had a couple people, during the week, when I told them I was going to Alter Bridge, and they're like, who's that? And then I tell them, oh, well, the 3 guys used to be in Creed with a different singer, and they laugh. And I'm like, no. There's no laughing here. This is fucking legit. You just haven't tried it because what it comes from, and that's fucked. Because this is such a deeper thing. So, I mean, yeah, it was just, it was epic. And these guys, they're such great musicians, and it's such it's just such a solemn, serious, professional show. Yeah, it was, again, epic. So I'm going to shut up now.
Well, something to point out was the crowd reaction, too, that all the songs, it didn't matter what it was, even something that had never been on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
There would usually be a point in a song where he would stop and let the crowd sing a verse.
They'd sing every fucking
and people
word,
sang
yeah.
every word, no matter what the song was.
Mhm,
And
exactly.
it wasn't a few people. It was like you look around and you hear it as well. And, to me, that's huge for a band like that. That shows something.
Yeah.
And another thing that I wanted to point out was when they did Watch Over You and In Loving Memory, they did it acoustically.
Yeah.
I was just watching that and I was thinking how amazing it would be to see Miles and Mark Tremonti, or even just Miles, do an acoustic show, a full-on tour or whatever.
Well, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So maybe we'll get that one day. I mean, right now, Miles I actually just saw yesterday his single's already out and I haven't heard it. I need to go listen.
I heard a clip of it on Eddie Trunk today, and it's a real, it reminded me of like when Zeppelin would do like the bongos and the Middle Eastern kind of songs, acoustic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Eddie Trunk said the whole album's pretty much like that.
Wow.
So it's kind of different. His voice was fucking crazy good though. I mean, it was a catchy song, so definitely check it out.
Yeah. I think that album's supposed to be out sometime in the spring.
It said March.
Okay.
So, yeah. But listen to that single, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, Alter Bridge, I mean, it's, like I said, a damn phenomenon, I think.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, we should talk about He Is Legend, because this is a pretty lengthy interview.
Yes.
And we can sit here and talk about Alter Bridge and whatnot before we talk about He Is Legend, because Schuylar from He Is Legend is all over the place when it comes to his music taste as well.
Which is how it should be, really.
Yeah, same way we are when we talk about everything from Poison to Rancid to Slayer to whatever.
And hats off to him. Way more varied than I am. I got to give him credit. I admit I'm not that. I wish I was a little bit more diverse. These days, but that's awesome that you can do that. That's how it needs to be.
Yeah. Their new album, Few, is great. Like, it's definitely something you should check out. No matter what kind of heavy music you're into, his vocals are great, and there's a lot of awesome guitar work on here. And there's even a couple points in a couple songs that remind me of Metallica.
Yeah.
And, it kind of, I know the album before, we get into, because I know you liked a lot of that, and you mentioned that, and that one was a lot different. It had more, you could even compare some of that to like Stone Temple Pilots. So that shows kind of how varied these guys are,
Yeah. Well, we talked a lot about his band and their music, but we also went off on all kinds of different tangents and talked about Home Alone and Campgrounds of America. And he's just such a cool guy to talk to. And it was a great conversation.
Yeah. He's just really interesting to listen to, because
Yes.
like you said, he's well versed in a lot of things. Last time we had him on, there was some audio issues because we did it outside and it was windy. So there was several points throughout that interview where the wind broke up what he was saying. And, you could still listen to it without a problem. But anyway, so this one we did it outside again, and his voice sounds perfectly fine. You can hear us all, but there's some loud music in the background.
Yeah.
I tried to do the best I can, but other than that, it's not too bad. So,
hey,
I just want to point that out for all the people on YouTube that love He Is Legend and commented last time about how they wish this sounded better.
Yeah.
This one sounds a little better.
Hey, you're the sound master. You got this.
Hopefully. Well, if this is your first time listening, you got all kinds of places you can follow us and like us. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, that's awesome. We're also on iTunes now.
Yes, we're on iTunes, Stitcher,
Google Music.
Yes, we are on all that now, so check it out.
Yeah, TuneIn and Pocket Casts.
Yes. Leave us reviews, please.
Yeah, like us on everything you can. Click the little heart and leave reviews. That helps. And of course, our website is thethunderunderground.com. Everything's on there as well. Let's get into this. Schuylar Croom, He Is Legend.
guys been good?
Yeah. Trying to.
Yeah.
Good as it can be.
Right.
I've asked this before. People know for Gwar, the room and the stage.
Right.
You know, with all the extra stuff that they bring. I mean, is it any restrictions at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so last night we played essentially in a line like the fucking Beatles, you know? Like, I was beside Adam. Jesse's drums were right up front beside me. I couldn't cross in front of them. Matt and Denny were on the other side on stage left. So, yeah, they have a huge setup. I mean, it's not the first time us being second of 4. You know, we've dealt with big stages like on Seven Dust. They have a big, huge drum, rack. So did Story of the Year. So I mean, some bands at least try to leave room for the openers. And Gwar does their best, but they do have, on top of gear, I mean, they create a set. It's more theatrical than anything, They're one of the best rock bands on the planet. Yeah. But they have a lot of theatrics in the way I would assume like a Kiss would travel, or something like that. But yeah, it gets pretty cluttered, There's like 16 monsters backstage, and like everybody's doing a different job, running around. So we try to stay out of the way as much as possible.
Yeah, we were back there a minute ago. It smelled a little rough.
Oh man,
where all their costumes were in that room.
It smells like what it is. It's that liquid latex. I mean, I worked in film for a while. You smell it all over horror movie sets all day long. That liquid, like almost rubber cement smell. And they don't get cleaned that often, so there is like a bit of like ass juice, I'm sure, all over all of them. It's so interesting. I mean, we had never seen Gwar before, so this is our first rodeo.
I'm a big proponent of everyone should see a Gwar show at least once in their lives. They've got to experience it.
I agree with you 100% now, and I would have gone my whole life without seeing them had it not been for this tour, and for no real reason other than my own ignorance. I always knew it's like saying you got to see a Dead show, Yeah. I know for a fact if we went to go see the Dead, I mean, regardless of like the drugs and whatnot that are involved in the watching the Dead, the crowd brings a vibe that just, and it's the same with the rock and roll juggalos, where it's a bunch of interesting people. You either have like very like snooty punk rock kids, like real crust kids, real punk rock kids, a lot of patch kids, and then you have like the kids who just like super comic book like enthusiasts, very into the storyline. They're there to see the show and bear witness to like what they're almost cosplaying along with, and like in knowing that there's a truth. There are kids coming with green mohawks and like crust kids on meth that are coming to just like watch Gwar because Gwar thrashes and they're awesome. It's really cool to see that dichotomy. We barely fit in there. We're kind of a hard pill to swallow on this tour, which is, it's okay. I mean, we like that.
Yeah.
But it's a rock and roll tour for sure. I mean, can't deny that we're not a rock and roll band.
Definitely. US
Bastards is rock as hell. There's Ghoul is more of like a thrash band, but they're so good. They're like one of my new favorite bands. I love them. And then Gwar, obviously, like if you haven't seen them, and you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's amazing how many people I've asked, have you heard of Gwar? Yes. Have you seen Gwar? No. And then the amount of people were like, oh, I'm not familiar. It's like, I understand why you wouldn't be familiar, because you don't necessarily want to pursue their albums and listen to them. And the albums are great, but you kind of have to roll in and like see what it's all about, get the backstory on the band, which is a huge, like roller coaster ride. They've been out for like over 30 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's amazing, man. Yeah. It's really cool. We have a random juxtaposition with Gwar like a 6 degrees of separation. Empire Records was filmed like right smack dab in the middle of our hometown. so they had, you know, a part to play in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched that growing up, you know,
Yeah.
knowing that it was in my hometown, you know, it meant more to me than most things.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Like, little Easter egg there.
That movie was like a Days Confused, like a diet Days
Yeah, like a
Confused.
90s Days of
Yeah.
Confused.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great movie, though.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure.
You mentioned sticking out with being a hard pill to swallow on this tour. Have you noticed? I mean, are crowd reactions good so far?
We've only had one really bad show, and I think everybody had a bad show. And I think that was just due to the surroundings and the way, you know, that city exists. So, but other than that, like, everything else has been really awesome. And even the, you know, shows that are a little less or a little more lackluster than the others have a lot to do with terrain and weather, and you know kids aren't coming out when it's raining or whatever. You know, that's every tour, every city, unless you're, you know, Guns N' Roses. So I think at this point we're just happy to be there, and of course, you know, U.S. Bastards is a straightforward Motorhead-esque rock band. You know, we have a lot more sexuality, a lot more like high energy rock and roll, like some pop influences, and Ghoul is like does the Gwar thing where they have a backstory, they dress up, they spray blood and shit, so they're kind of and under the wing of Gwar, because a lot of those dudes work with Gwar very closely, so. And they do their own style. I love the band, but their fans aren't going to like us as much, you know, just because that's people who like thrash metal, you know. They find an element in He Is Legend, maybe. I mean, and we have people come up and like, hell yeah, I loved it. But we're definitely gaining a new fan base from this. That's, you know, can't say anything wrong with that.
No, definitely not at all.
Well, last time we talked to you, Q was a few weeks away from being released. And now that you're like half a year away from it, looking back on it, are you happy with everything? The reception and the product that you
I'd
ended up
say
with?
90% of everything I'm very happy with. There are little speed bumps that I think are just like learning life lessons that we had kind of fall in our lap, sort of through no faults of our own. The outsourcing of shipping and stuff like that we thought would relieve us a little. Some of the stuff didn't get there, and then, you know, asking them to reship things has been hard. I had to kind of take that under our own, you know, into our own responsibility and start shipping things off that had already been shipped. So there's those things and international things like that. Trying to get our record in the stores and stuff. I mean, you know, those things are, I think every band is going to have to deal with stuff like that on any level that they're on, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't find that as being like a reason why I would never do it again. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I think it was 99% positive, and it definitely brought us closer to our fans. The people are coming out left and right that we're just like, you know, very happy to see again. And we've developed a closer relationship by starting a street team and, you know, all sorts of random things like that would probably not have happened if we didn't figure out the ins and outs of producing a record from the ground up, and how easy it is to connect with your fans if you can corral them into one spot through the internet. You know, I mean, you can put something on your social media, but if you're speaking directly to the people that organize a group, and they are speaking directly, like making a phone tree essentially for rock and roll, that's what we used to do when we were kids, you know, like what bands used to do in the 80s, in the 90s, you know, like the punk aspect of going out and flyering your town is dead, and that shouldn't be dead, you know. That's something that I still look for. I'm not going on this place's website and checking their schedule, you know, like we get to a club, we see it there, or I look through the local street mag or whatever, you know. Flyering should remain, but kids are walking away from it. And mainly promoters are walking away from it because they know that all they got to do is dump $100 into a Facebook ad and then boom, it hit everybody. It's like, no, it didn't hit the kids that don't give a shit about looking at that stuff or scroll right past it.
Man, I had a staple gun and staples in my truck at all times back then.
Yeah.
We were all over here doing that kind of shit, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. I walked by a telephone pole walking over to the center of the universe thing, and it's just a telephone pole full of staples, no posters whatsoever.
Yep.
Just like, well, those are the days.
Yeah, maybe they were. Well, what of the new stuff have you seen that's going over live the best?
We're only playing one new tune on this tour just because we have a 30-minute set.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
we thought we'd try to run the gamut, play a little bit of everything, and get out of there. But yeah, on the headlining run we just did, we did 3. I mean, people were loving like Eastern Locust, jamming that one. And Sand, obviously, we just dropped the video for Sand today.
Yeah.
People really dig that song. I mean, it's definitely fused a different record, and kids really like it. No one really seems to be asking. I mean, they just seem to be content with what we're doing, you know. So, and our shows have been kind of a little less whimsical and more like, you know, one song flowing right into another. You know, very little downtime. So. Which is what we try to do on this tour too. I mean, we just want to get on and get off because people don't know us, and I feel like the more I stand up there talking, the less, you know, mystique is involved in what we're doing. And I think this crowd in general wants that shrouded rocker mystique. You know, like if we're not saying much, that makes us seem like a little off-putting, I guess. Especially when you're playing a tour with a bunch of monsters and like, you know, ghouls.
Well, I'm always curious what vocalist or anyone thinks in a band about people with cell phones like filming it right in front of their face, like in a small club, because I've been in the crowd and you can't see what the hell's going on, so I just wonder from your perspective if it annoys you or if you don't care.
I get annoyed at that, at anything though, you know, like somebody gets hit by a car on the side of the road, like everybody pulls their phone out rather than help, you know. That cell phone dementia that we have going on, where we lose time and forget what we're doing, is something to be said about it. At a show, I get it, even though I think you're ruining your experience because you're watching through a cellular device. Same way as I feel about people like holding out their, you know, taking pictures of artwork at museums, you know, like that always bothered me even way before the show thing, because it's like, you know, you're meant to walk through a museum and take it all in and really like ponder it up close, feel the energy that was in it from a painting that's, you know, older than our country.
Yeah.
And people were just like snapping a picture and walking on. You know, you're never you could do that with a magazine. Why'd you pay $50 to get into the museum?
You could look that painting up on the internet.
Exactly. And that's the thing that, like, the separation that we have between this tiny little screen, where every answer is on there. You can look up anything, you know. It's just, it seems like the people just don't want to put it down, and they don't even have a choice to anymore. You know, you're at a museum, or you're at a rock show, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're ruining your experience with being there, because looking through this little thing makes it seem unreal to your brain, even though you are there. Like, you're trying to capture this moment when really your memory would be more prone to saving it in a way that's more beautiful to you, you know, more meaningful. I would love for people to just like drop your cell phone at the door, like this is an exclusive show. Yeah. You would think that would be a Gwar kind of, you know, vibe.
Yeah. Well, I heard on Sirius they had that Stone Temple Pilots debuted their new singer, and they made everybody put their phones in that rubber bag that locks up. And they said the vibe was so much better. Everybody was talking and drinking and, you know, like kind of how it used to be. And, you know, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Have you heard that
song? I haven't heard the song. I wonder how it's going to be. I mean, it's literally the too soon thing for me. You know, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
That was a huge influence on my life. And, I actually got a call from a friend who is in a big band out there that's friends with the brothers, and while we were recording Few, actually they were trying to hit me up to see if I would be interested in auditioning for it, and I was just like, dude, just die, you know, like, I mean, that seems a little strange. I knew they were going to try another project, did not know that they were going to do, and I know Chester was doing it, which makes it equally as odd. I get it. I mean, it's basically, it's a band. Like, move on if you want. It just wasn't for me. Same thing with Velvet Revolver. I don't know why it was always like I was kind of a shoe-in for, or not a shoe-in, but I had taken a few calls about doing the Velvet Revolver thing when Scott left. And they apparently had a whole album written and had spoken to a few guys involved with the band, and it came down to me doing like a YouTube audition with and I was just not into that. I was like, I already have a band, and I have like followers and things. I'm not going to do a YouTube. I'm not going to karaoke your song.
Yeah.
If you want me to audition, I'll come to LA and audition. And then I never heard back. So it was like, I guess me being pig-headed for a moment, like, ruined that chance. But did it really? I mean, where would I be now doing that? Like, sitting at home watching Guns N' Roses tour.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's no Velvet Revolver anymore.
Right. This was another band I really dug. I mean, we've had a lot of really strange stories like that happen to us over the years, and then, we're still here doing this, so there's going to be a reason for it.
Well, going back just a little bit, I want to talk about the song Be Easy. That song really sticks out to me, and it's pretty fun, so, I mean, what can you say about that?
These Heavy Fruit songs were written in a very different way. I know we wanted to go like a minimalist route and make these kind of rock songs that we would want to hear ourselves, obviously a lot of like Queens of the Stone Age influence for my, like, at least vocally, I felt like I was rocking like the Arctic Monkeys and Queens of the Stone Age a lot then, and like trying to do my own take on this like Beach Boys vibe of vocal harmonies and stuff. So I mean, the lyrical content is just a little silly love song, essentially just written in my own way of, I like to write in prose and metaphor. But the song's really, kind of like a cat and mouse song as it slows down and jumps back into this big, like, thrashy chorus. And I mean, obviously, like, the lyrics, like, about, like, having somebody want to chase you, it's like, I think can relate to man, woman, like job, anything, like having to play the game is something that we always are against, especially in the music scene, when it's like, there's a format that everybody in a suit says you're supposed to do this way, do this that way. If you do this and put this out, then those things get so tiring, and I think it really weighs on the creativity of a band that just wants to play the coolest shows they can and rock out and have a good time. And if that's what you can do and that's all you can do, I think you're better for it. I think a lot of those songs on Heavy Fruit were personal. They were pointed. They may or may not have been about like inner relationships, like that I had witnessed, either be it, through friends and their relationships with family, or inner workings in the band and things like that. Like, I mean, I just, when I like the song itself, Adam is responsible for the musicality and the things, and I'm there to just, unlock a door with a story and work off of that. Vocal melodies kind of roll off of what he does because he writes with me in mind, and I write, to try to be an accompaniment to his guitar playing. So we've always done it that way. I just think that record was written in a way where we knew we had something to prove. It was an option for a record label that we knew we wouldn't be working with after that. So it was just an odd time, It came out beautifully. I love it. I love that record a lot. But it's very different than Few. And I think Few kind of went back more to where our roots are, because Few, we had no input. We were definitely just start to finish. Every idea was ours. No one told us yay or nay. No comments on the vocals. No, hey, you should maybe make that verse shorter. It was all just like those songs came out. exactly the way we knew they would from the practice room. So
Yeah.
in that aspect, I think we were given a lot more freedom to play the way we wanted and to write the way we wanted and record the way we wanted. We were given a little more time than we normally would be given. So ideally, a perfect way to make a record in the winter. You know, there's a lot of things that went into it. I'm sure that I touched base on last time we talked about.
Yeah.
Looking back now, the only thing I would do different is maybe have a campaign manager to run all the ins and outs of from the site to the last day when we were like, record's here, let's give it away, you know, because there was so much stuff that fell on my plate, and it's been almost, I think the campaign ended in the end of November 2005. The money didn't come in until December 30th, 2005, so 2016 is when the money cleared in our bank. And so we had all of 2016 to do what we said we were going to do. So we used just about that year. We got in the studio right away and just started writing checks. And by right around the time that recording was finished, we had all that money was spoken for. We knew where it was going, printed off, you know, hundreds of T-shirts, hundreds of, you know, the like smoking jackets and stuff like that. All the things that went into it, we just like wrote checks. It was the strangest thing to witness. You know, we've never had money. We don't have money now. We didn't have money. Like even getting all that money, it's like, you know, that's a startup. You know, that's the start of this business of like the He Is Legend franchise. You know, make it what we want it and involve our fans in it. And I'd say that happened 100%. Across the board, we flew that out. You know, it's great. But yeah, I mean, if you have a fan base and you're a band, I highly suggest doing it. If you don't have a fan base, I'd say look at, you know, or if you just have a local fan base, you can do it on a smaller scale. Maybe start a band camp. But I'll take one more of these. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely there's a big, huge learning curve. And if a band has enough fans that they can get in there and make that a priority and really connect with their fans, it's a beautiful thing to do. If you don't have that, or if you have that on a small scale, there's also a way to work around it, distancing yourself from record labels and people with no musical talent who are going to try to tell you what to do. That's a big thing that needs to be, you know, just needs to be shunned.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no dude in a suit's going to tell you that they know better than you. You know,
Exactly.
I don't care who you are. Like if you can't bring your guitar in and say play it like this, and it be like something that blows our mind, then we're not gonna, you know, we're just not gonna take it seriously. We've been making music for this long now. I think we know what we're doing. You know, I mean, you know, now that being said, like a Terry Date or a Steve Albini or, you know, even a Josh Homme, like going out to the ranch, something like that, that would be a dream of ours. Of course we would be open to situations like that. But
until that,
it's a shinier side of the penny that we're probably not going to pry off the ground anytime soon.
So, is every song you guys do, like you said, written by Adam, guitar-wise, or song structure-wise, and then you finish it off?
Me and him are essentially the writers. He has such I mean, even times when I've come in with ideas, that idea is like, oh I know what you're thinking, and then it turns into like what I was thinking but couldn't relate to him because we've been doing this since we were 18, you know. But he has a gift of just, you know, the songs are in there, the second guitar parts are in there, the third guitar parts maybe are in there, synth back, I mean everything. He knows the structure of it, and I either piece my vocals together through that, or we'll add changes like this needs to be shorter, or hey, what if we do this? But normally the skeleton of the song is there in the practice room, and then it's like helps me build my melodies around that, and then through that like find a common ground of what the song sounds like in order to produce content for lyrics. You know, I never really have like I want to write a song about this or I want the lyrics to be about this. It's usually it comes out of this alchemy of me listening to what he's created, and then like that sound gives me an idea. I relate it to whatever, create a story or create characters out of this kind of like just sonic world that he creates, And obviously working with a drummer too, when it comes down to that, it's like I work really hard off the drums too, because as being a drummer, when I was younger, drum beats really inspire me as well. So it's like, adding those two things together and hearing the music build and become a thing. That's how it's done. That's how it's always been done for us. We roll it out, and it's too because if you write a song in the practice space and you get to the studio, the little nuances change while you're recording and toning out, and it takes such a long time to get those tones right. To hear every little thing that happens throughout, I want to wait until I know that he's like happy with the guitar work, and then when the guitar work is done, it's like now I can go back and recut all the stuff that I thought I was going to be doing, because it's also the same thing when you get into a vocal booth. Like you might hear something in your head that you want to do, and you haven't actually done it until you've done it. So it's interesting. I like recording. It's not why we do this. Why we do this is to, yes, make music is one side of it, but playing live is the real where the payoff is. Getting to meet fans, getting to be out here and do what we do live is, I think that's where we have a big talent. So we're still, going from over there at that place to over here. It's just it's not a bad scene.
No, not at all. That place is gone now.
Yeah, I know. I heard. Yeah, I talked to Jake earlier. He says he's going to try to come out tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That place is called the Downtown Lounge.
Yeah, miss it. Sure.
That place was cool. So fucking load-in was a bitch, but there's a weird-ass stage. I guess it wasn't that bad because you literally just load right onto the stage. It's just a strange little stage in there. But those were some of the most rock and roll shows ever, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Real fun.
Well, your guys' albums are kind of all distinct of each other. Have you guys ever considered doing albums in their entirety live?
We got asked to do that for I Am Hollywood, and I was against it. Just because I know certain bands do that, and I completely understand why. But I don't want to be in that whole like reunion thing that's going on. It doesn't really appeal to me, and I don't know. I just can't find I don't think we would be opposed to like maybe play Few live like in its entirety, or any of our albums in its entirety for a show, just to maybe record it or do something like that. But doing a full tour, just like this is what we're playing, I don't know. That seems so fatty to me. Like the big fat people are doing it. It's a money grab. I think it's a money grab. It feels like that to me.
It's like if a band wanted to do it because they wanted to do it, I get it. But it's promoters saying, "Hey, play this album from 15 years ago, and we'll give you more money."
Yeah.
Than if you just came and played here, and it's a little.
I can't find myself. I went to one show, and I was drugged to this show. But I went to see Minus the Bear, who I love. But I don't think I ever really dove into one album per se. And I watched them play this album live, full front to back. And then when they came back, took like a 20-minute break, came back, and they played the hits, the bangers, songs people wanted to play. I could not tell you one song off of that album that they played. I don't remember. I remember owning the album. I don't remember a song that I specifically jammed all the time. And I found myself when they came back on and they were playing, I just remember being like, I would have come just to see you guys jam, like, and play the songs you want to play and play a set and just do it the way you want. Because that vibe, it's nice when a song from a 10-year-old record can vibe right into a brand new song, into a song nobody's ever heard, into a cover song. I like that about the way bands write set lists. I don't want to hear your album front to back. I probably don't even want to hear it front to back when I put it in my car, you know? Like, I'll probably skip it 5 songs in unless I'm waiting for that track that I love. Yeah, it seems like a money grab. No offense to any band that's ever done it, but, you know, I mean, to me, it just doesn't seem like something I'd be into doing. However, one day we will play In Utero front to back.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
We've talked about it for years.
That's awesome.
One day it'll happen.
Like, how much of that have you played? Do you know it all?
We cover so many Nirvana songs. I mean, I'm sure we all know it all by heart just listening to it, but we talked about maybe doing it for a New Year's show, just like a secret New Year's show, and just like playing all of In Utero and then playing like maybe 3 or 4 He Is Legend songs at the end. Just like
that'd be awesome.
Definitely would be recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have you heard any of these, like the Master of Puppets reissue with all the extra stuff and they did with Ride the Lightning?
Yeah.
Kill 'Em All and everything. Have you heard any of the extra stuff?
I haven't.
Have you listened yet?
I haven't. I will. Yeah, I haven't had a chance. I've been vibing on some like. I mean, it's been kind of a heavy month to be away from home. I've had a lot of like heavy things that have gone on. Like it's on, you know, it'll be a couple days. It'll be a year since I lost my grandmother. My mom's birthday is today. Shout out, Mom! Happy birthday! I love you. My granddad's birthday was 2 days ago. My girlfriend's little brother had a baby like a week ago. Thanksgiving, obviously. Just a fuckload of just stuff I've missed from being home. And I know this is very fun to be on the road. It's also a job, and I have to look at it like that when I think about things like that because it's just been heavy. So I've been doing like sad bastard music lately, just like, you know, listening to old Christmas albums that my mom loved, and my grandma loved, and just like, you know, because when I'm wandering around by myself, you know, seeing like people putting up their Christmas lights and stuff, like I get nostalgic for that. I'm a Christmas kind of dude, you know, like I love Halloween. I could really give a shit about Thanksgiving, but the family part is, I'm very close to my family. So, you know, missing so much of this stuff that happened this year and is happening now, it's been a little more difficult than, I mean, I know we all have our things, but this has just been a rough month to be gone, but it's also, how can you pass up Gwar?
Yeah. Right.
So,
Exactly.
and everybody understands that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just missed a lot of stuff, so. I was sitting down with Keith from Every's My Die, and we played a show together not so long ago. And we were just being old, salty dudes at a bar, you know, because we rarely play together. Well, we have a lot of memories about Christmas time in general, because when I filled in for Maylene years ago, 2009, it was over, you know, the Christmas holiday, and I think we got home 2 days before Christmas, but we were like watching It's a Wonderful Life every day in the bus, and like, you know, decorating the bus and wandering around, and, you know, you're in Munich walking around, which is like the mecca of all Christmas decorations, and it's literally just like, it's like walking through the North Pole.
Yeah.
So we're just all festive and like two hardcore, you know, rockers just wandering around. And saw him recently, and we were just discussing, you know, like what this is. And he's like, yeah, my daughter just took her first steps yesterday, and I'm in, you know, Spokane, Washington with you. I was like, so, you know, it can get heavy out, you know, especially when you talk to your friends, but it's nice to continue those conversations when you're away from each other. And I try to reach out to him every now and then, and we just like kind of keep each other on our toes, because I mean, I don't think there's enough people saying that, you know, how thankful you are for friendships. And I mean, look at Chris Cornell and stuff like that, like where it's like, I think there's an amount of loneliness that comes the larger you get in a rock group, an amount of loneliness that you can't describe. And you know, especially if you have enough dough to walk off stage, get in a cab, go to a hotel room by yourself, and be sober. I mean, being sober sucks. You know, I mean, it's like, ask anyone. It might be the way to be and the best thing that a lot of people should do for themselves, but nobody is sitting home in their sobriety going like, I'm living the best life, man. Like, I drank a yerba mate earlier. Like, I'm going to bed at 8. Like, you know, like, oh, you guys are going out? Cool. I'm going to watch, you know, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, and if you can imagine being in a band with that much anonymity just handed to them because they want to be ignored at certain points, and they, you know, in depression, which is very real and unchosen, you might want to just be alone in a hotel room and not have someone speak to you. And people might fault a person for that situation, and those times are dark. Who knows what's going on in these people's minds? You know, you can't fault them for what they've done. Suicide is something, obviously, like, I don't want to get too heavy on your podcast, but it's something that's definitely, people like to overlook what goes on surrounding those situations, and people also will never know unless it's laid out. Yeah, I mean, that's a part of this life that I don't think people look at. It's like, you know, we have our own personal lives, and like, we get sad, we get, you know, down. It's not a fucking party every day. We're not just like, you know, woo, next city, what's up, Tulsa? You know, like, it can get heavy. And I mean, I think that if you're not high-fiving or like hugging or leaving your favorite band a letter, or, you know, like, just showing them. I know people come up and say, like, hey, I love your music. And that always means something. You know, like, the people who aren't doing that, who really mean something, like, you know, or you're not able to speak to, like, all your favorite bands need it. They need that love and encouragement, because when it is hard and you're not getting it, it's, you know, it's one of those times where you question whether you should be doing it or not. Luckily enough, we're all friends and we have a good time being together, and we've been together for so long. So I wake up on Thanksgiving morning, if I was just with a bunch of assholes, then I could be way more upset than being with my best friends in the world. You know what I mean? I'm lucky. I know people that have it a lot worse. I don't know how Soundgarden or Linkin Park, you know, whatever Chester was doing, what was going on in their lives. But I mean, I do realize this, like, severity of fame, and it's even on the smallest of scales. I've noticed how fucking, you know, miserable this can be at times. There again, like, you weigh the good and the bad, and obviously, like, people would kill to be in our position, Gwar's position. Everybody's, like, you know, having a good time. But, you know, give your favorite band a hug. You know, they need it. They need it.
Well, a minute ago you were talking about Christmas music. What's your Christmas album that takes you back, or your favorite?
Oh, I have a lot, actually.
Yeah.
My mom always listened to the Lennon Sisters back in the day. That's going to be a very hard album to find. Perry Como obviously was another one of her favorites. You know, all the classic, like, Bing Crosby and stuff. But I always download Bob Dylan's Theme Time Radio Hour that he does, and he always does a Christmas. I don't even think he does Theme Time Radio Hour that much anymore, but he used to do a Christmas episode all the time. So I would download those and listen to him, and he would play the most obscure stuff. The Spirit of Christmas by Ray Charles is probably my all-time favorite. That's all over the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's the Christmas song, Christmas is the time of year, being with the ones you love. Where he's up watching the thing in the attic, and he's like got his shower cap on.
He falls through.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful Christmas album. Elvis, Christmas Greats is good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I had this one that was like a weird B-side thing, what we used to listen to all the time. My mom used to throw on. But yeah, I mean, any of it. I don't know. I'm a sucker for it. It's just like, it's the least metal thing you could talk about, but it's like, you know, Like, I just love that, you know, that feeling. It just reminds me of being a little kid, going and looking at Christmas lights. So that's what we did, you know, we'd get in the car, we'd go look at Christmas lights. We didn't really have money, so it was just like, drive around, look at Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And somebody, my side, you know, like, that's what we did. And we listened. There's actually this one thing that we had, and I don't know where, it was like on a tape. It was some Christmas compilation. They had a lot of really stupid, like, kid songs on there. But there's one, like, I just go nuts for Christmas. If you find the song, it's so racist. It's like a Jewish guy talking about Christmas or whatever, and he pronounces his J's as Y's, you know. Hey, yes, it's for Christmas. All the kids hang up their sock. You know, it's like really silly. But I always try to find it every year because it's so far out and so un-PC. It's like just off the wall.
They couldn't make that today.
No way. Then there was this claymation Christmas special that I try to watch every year on YouTube. It's just like these two dinosaurs were hosting this like ABC Christmas special, and the California Raisins were on it. Sick, really cool.
Yeah.
And of course, Home Alone. I watch Home Alone 1 and 2 at least 2 or 3 times a year. Like, I have me and my lady, we always just sit down one day when it's just like, you should watch Home Alone, like in July, like sometime in the summertime. I'm watching Home Alone at least 3 times a year.
And I haven't seen 2 since they came out, probably.
Yeah,
but I've seen 1
really
recently.
2's my favorite, actually.
Really?
Donald fucking Trump's in that movie. Donald Trump has a cameo.
Oh my God.
Trump Towers.
Home
Alone 2 is so good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's better, but I'd say those are 2 movies like Die Hard 1 and 2. Like, they're just movies that Die Hard is my favorite unintentional Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
I got a machine gun.
I got a machine gun now.
There's a theater over here that's been there since like the 20s.
Yeah.
They renovated and all that. And they show White Christmas every year. And I saw that like whenever I was a kid, but then I hadn't seen it forever. And it's like my girlfriend's favorite movie.
Yeah.
So we went the last few years and saw it. And now I like look forward to it.
Tradition,
even though I've seen it, the last 5 years in a row.
That's the way I am during Halloween with The Shining. Yeah. We always rent out a place and watch The Shining real huge. Watch Home Alone 1 and 2 soon. Because they're so good. But also, It's a Wonderful Life should be watched every year by everyone. It's such a great movie. It's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. And it's just like, you know, Jimmy Stewart just being awesome.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. It's so it should be watched year-round, too. Should throw that on there. Hopefully this is going to be your Christmas podcast. We did a lot of Christmas talk.
We'll make it our Christmas episode.
Yeah. Jingle bells.
What do you guys...
Gwar should do a Christmas album. That would be sick.
Yeah, they should.
I would. I saw what there was like 2 years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, a metal album came out, but it was just a bunch of that compilation that had like all the different guys on each song. It wasn't actual bands. Just, you know what I'm talking about? How like
Christmas songs.
Dust or Devil Driver singing Run Run Rudolph with
like
Doug Aldrich playing guitar and just random
supergroup Christmas stuff. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I was supposed to do a song with Devil Driver, and it fell through for, you know, different circumstances, but hopefully next time I'll do some stuff with them. Neil hit me up and we were talking about it, and just couldn't make it work. I'm really bummed that I didn't have a producer with a studio open that I could have gone to at that point, and we were leaving for Gwar. And, you know, we've done a couple of huge festivals, driving all the way across country and back in the last couple of months. It's just been really grueling tour schedules. So.
When you guys are on the road during a holiday like Thanksgiving, do you try to do anything, like find a place to eat, that kind of thing?
Usually we do. A lot of us are vegetarians, so we look for a place. This year we struck out pretty bad, but I will say we were in LA the day before and we ate like kings. So, and then the day after that we were in Denver, so we ate like kings. So I mean, We skipped Thanksgiving this year, which is fine. We were in Mesa, Arizona, or Tempe, Arizona, so not too worried about it. Usually Whole Foods does us right. We got to this Whole Foods, and it was like eating at a Piggly Wiggly. It was just like, y'all don't have those out here, do you? Piggly Wiggly? Yeah. It was like eating at a, like a Harris Teeter or some shit, you know, like Publix.
Cool, man.
But yeah, we usually try to do it. We cook a lot on the road, like lately, just because it's been so cold and we can't be outside prepping all our stuff. We've just been making like hobo bags, you know, like just chopping up a lot of veggies. Everybody gets the meat they want, throws it in, seasoning, wrap them up, throw them on the fire. 45 minutes, they're done.
Yeah.
Steaming hot. You got potatoes, onions, you know, like chard, all sorts of veggies, and we just all have your little sack of aluminum foil and just go to town. And when it's cold outside and you got a little campfire going on, we're set, happiest campers ever, man.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we do good. We feed ourselves well when we have the opportunity to.
Were you able to do that in most places you stop, or?
We're members of the Campgrounds of America, so
Hell yes.
we did it last night. We just left. There's one like maybe 20 miles away in Claremore we stayed at, and it's like right beside a casino. Nothing to write home about. But some of these places are legit, like rock walls and water parks or little streams, you know, like lazy rivers, and we love them, you know, because I mean, at a hotel room, like I was just saying, I mean, there's a lot of like anonymity that goes. Nobody wants to look you in the eye, you know. You got one bathroom between 5 dudes. There, you got a bathhouse. Everybody can go in, take a shower, take a shit when they want to.
Yeah.
You got a fire pit. You go in, you start a fire, cut up some vegetables, throw them in a bag. Boom, you're done. Just sitting around, you know, get your laundry done. It's a beautiful thing. In the morning, somebody's watching their camper, like, where y'all from? You know, it's like, it's very personal. In our old age, I feel like it's better to, like, be nice and make friends, you know, like, see a family, pet a dog, you know, like, give a kid a shirt, you know, what are you going to do? Because they're out doing the same thing you are. They're seeing the world for the first time. You've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice. It's nice to stay at campgrounds. You get a different view of the world. We've been hotel room suitcases for 10 years. You know, this is a different vibe and slows us down a little bit. You wake up and you see, you know, either a vast prairie or huge mountain or a waterfall, like because KOAs seek out spots where it's like, you know, it feels like you're in the wilderness. Yeah. So yeah, it's I highly suggest it, man. It's cheaper too. I mean, we paid $35 to park last night.
Hell yeah.
You paid triple that for one hotel room.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Do you guys have like a Blu-ray player or something on your RV?
We just stream to an iPad, like just stream Netflix and stuff. We had one. I had an Xbox that I had all my games, select horror movies, and the Seinfeld box set, and someone stole it. And I've yet to buy a new one, and I really want to, and I'm waiting to see whether or not I want to get a PlayStation or an Xbox One S.
Yeah.
I've always been an Xbox guy. I've always played Gears of War. I haven't played the new Gears of War. It's the only game I play. And like any horror survival game. But I don't know which one to get. I know Resident Evil's on both now, and it used to not be like that, so I gotta get something. But yeah, our TV fell and it broke, so we never got it back in, and it's better without one. Just watch TV when everybody's gonna be on their phone anyway. Right. But yeah, we got a little like an iPad we'll set up and we'll watch cartoons and shit. The most mind-numbing things, they work the best. After an 18-hour drive, you just want to like zone out and not think, maybe laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I just didn't wonder if the rest of your band was into stuff like Home Alone or.
Yeah,
You're the only one.
No, we're all into comedy. Me and Jesse have very similar tastes. Like we watch a lot of Tim and Eric. think they're like are probably in The Office. Like we quote The Office all day long.
Yeah.
We just started watching Big Mouth, which is like Nick Kroll's show.
I just finished that.
So
It's
funny.
amazing. Yeah.
It's the most vulgar thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Yes, we watched a lot of that. I love Nick Kroll. His show was great. I couldn't believe it got canceled, but I mean, he went on to do really crazy things.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the on Too Much Tuna or whatever, the on Broadway thing?
No.
Off Broadway, I think it was called. It was on the Kroll show, his like sketch comedy thing. Him and this guy, they do the Too Much Tuna prank. They have if you look up Nick Kroll on Netflix, I think it's called Off Broadway or something like that. They do just a Too Much Tuna live. It's ridiculous, but it's very funny. He's a really funny guy.
Yeah. Another show you should watch if you've got Hulu is Future Man.
I've heard.
Oh man, I just finished that. That's awesome.
Funny?
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's
Really?
over the top.
Yeah.
All right, I need something new. I'm ready to watch. I'm a big Christopher Maloney fan, and he has that sci-fi thing coming out on the 6th with Patton Oswalt on the Sci-Fi Channel. So I don't know where I'm going to be able to catch it, but it's supposed to be over the top, like out of this world, and it's Christmas, so it'll be cool. See a little Christmas like sci-fi crazy movie. I'm into it. I'll report back. Thanks for the shirt too. That kicks so much ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So awesome.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you know it. You know it.
There you go, Schuylar Croom of He Is Legend. Thank you, big thank you, as always, to Katie Irizarry from Freeman Promotions.
Definitely.
She's always a huge help.
Yes.
This was no different. Thank you, of course, to Schuylar Croom for not only taking the time to talk to us, but for talking to us for almost an hour.
Yes, that
And
was awesome.
I gotta say, I think of any band, anybody we've ever talked to in a touring band, that's the longest anyone's ever sat down and talked to us
Yeah.
in a touring band. Because normally you get these guys before their show and they, 20, 30 minutes, and then they've got to do other stuff
Yeah.
to get ready for the show. So we got kind of lucky on this one.
Well, didn't he say like, I just want to get out of here for a little bit. Let's go have a drink.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We just went and had a beer or two, and these guys are on the road and they're around the same people all the time, so they just kind of want to get away. So it was great. Worked out awesome.
If you're at any of the shows coming up and you see him wearing a Thunder Underground shirt, take a picture for us. Because we gave him one of those. So I just want to see if it ever pops up. People.
Or the other shirt.
Oh, that's right. So last time he was on here, we talked about Stevie Nicks, and he brought up that he wished she would come to the show after because she was playing like 2 blocks away that night.
That's right, yeah.
And he said she should come here because anyone that would have someone blow cocaine in their butthole would surely like a He Is Legend show.
Bam.
So we put that on a t-shirt and gave it to him, and he thought that was pretty cool.
He seemed to dig it.
Yeah. But yeah, once again, thanks to him. And like I said, if you're a fan of him, go back to episode, I think it's 112. He was on here earlier in the year, back in the spring. So get a chance to check these guys out and do it. They're still on this tour with Gwar. I think it's winding down, but
Okay.
or it might have actually just ended. But regardless, they're on tour with Gwar, U.S. Bastards, and Ghoul. Speaking of that, Brent from U.S. Bastards and Gwar is going to be on this podcast soon
That's right.
because we recorded that the same day.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah, so that's one to look out for. And then going back, you can pull up soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. You can go on iTunes and search Thunder Underground, Stitcher, all that stuff. Our website. Just scroll back through there. There's 150 episodes. That's a lot.
That's right. There's
So you're going to find something you like.
a treasure trove of rock interviews with people from fucking Joey Allen of Warrant to fucking Miss May I mean,
You drew a blank after the first name.
cause I mean, there's so much. I mean,
Right.
we've done fucking Shooter Jennings. We've done fucking Drowning Pool. I mean, we've been lucky enough to have Gene Simmons and Bruce Kulick on the show. And, we've had Ian Moore, and we even had Eddie Trunk for a few minutes. So it's just all over the fucking place.
Yeah. Wino from The Obsessed.
Yeah.
Reed Mullen of COC. Chris Broderick of Act of Defiance. And, of course, Megadeth. We had on John Connolly from Seven Dust, Ian Hogland from Europe. We've had on guys from...
Lenny Lashley from Street Dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How awesome is that?
That is awesome. We've had on guys from The Sword and from King and
Yes.
from Battlecross. And speaking of King, go to GoFundMe and search King and give him $5 or whatever you can.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
This has
I
been
need to do that.
2 or 3 or a few weeks, maybe within the past month, someone like stole all their shit.
Yeah.
Like I think their entire trailer worth of stuff. I think I heard him say $75,000 worth of equipment.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is one of those bands that isn't at that level where that shit's expendable, you know? So they could use your help. That's why they got to GoFundMe for it.
Definitely. Help them out.
Right.
I mean, it's sad that all of Eddie's his Dean SG looking guitars that look so fucking badass.
Yeah.
That some shithead fucking stole them.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that guy gets fucking gonorrhea or something and his dick falls off. Whoever fucking stole that shit.
Right.
You suck.
All right. Well, got anything else we want to talk about? If you're in the Tulsa area, this Friday night,
Yes.
Texas Hippie Coalition is playing the Canes. But more importantly, Fist of Rage is opening up for them.
Definitely.
So get out there and check that out. I think it's only $15.
And
The very next night,
yes.
Sprout, who has been on this podcast 3 times, most recently just like a month and a half or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
He is playing Badass Renee's Saturday night with his new solo project, where it's just him and a guitar, basically, and a piano, I think. I don't know if he does the piano live or not. We'll find
see.
out.
Yeah.
And he's playing, like I said, Badass Renee's, and he talks about all this on that most recent episode that he was on. So go back and check that out.
All right.
And they were supposed to announce the Rocklahoma lineup yesterday. They didn't, because who knows what's going on. But when they do, we'll have, within 12 hours, we'll have a Rocklahoma reaction video up on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we would have found out today, but that guy from Queens of Stone Age had to go and kick a photographer in the face, so...
That's what we're guessing.
Way to go, Dick.
Yeah, so speaking of YouTube, at The Thunder Underground, there's some extra stuff on there that's not on the official podcast episodes, so follow us there as well. Like I mentioned earlier, thethunderunderground.com has all the links to all the social medias and all the places you can listen to the podcasts, like iTunes and Stitcher and Google Music. All right. Until next time.
I would have asked for a glass if you had Mexican beer, but these go down pretty smooth, you know.
Thunder Underground, y'all.